Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ful-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. I'm your host, Ash Wolford. Joining me today for our Sunderland preview is Mozza. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, very well, my friend. Thank you very much. Hope you guys are well.
Yeah, mate, good to have you on. Drew, freshly back from a nice trip away. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. The weather's a bit of a culture shock coming back, I can tell you that.
Yeah, you've gone from the desert to the snow, haven't you? So there you go.
Yeah.
And AJ, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing okay, considering the international fixtures and being an Italian, but otherwise, not bad.
Yeah, we were just talking about this a minute ago, obviously off air. Look, it's been a difficult couple of weeks at Fulham since the last game's come in. An awful lot has gone off the field. We still don't know about some of the stuff that's going on off the field. We're going to try our best to cover what we expect to see on the field on Saturday against Sunderland at home. We know that there's a lot still in the air, and we'll probably find out a lot tomorrow or today when Marco does his press conference. We'll try not to get emotionally worked up about the stuff that's going on off the field, mainly because we've covered it a lot over the last couple of weeks, like everyone related to Fulham has. And there's just way too much in the air to be able to do that. We're here, obviously, talk about Sunderland. We know that since we last played away against Everton, a result which all of us, sorrowfully considered to be the worst game of football we've seen Fulham play in a very, very long time. We've now been confined to losing yet another player on the long term. Mooney is now going to be out until likely February, which is a real concern because it does leave us with one fit 34-year-old striker and one 18-year-old who isn't favoured by our manager, but we'll talk about what we may do about that in a moment. Squad-wise, we're still looking kind of thin on the ground, and over what is going to be a very difficult period of football, we're going to have to see what we're going to do. AJ, you know what I'm asking, mate. I ask it every week when we do these shows. Going into this game against Sunderland on Saturday, what are we going to do squad-wise? What are we going to do with this striker issue that we have? You know, what would you do personally? Would you change it up compared to what you probably think Marco is going to do?
Ooh, we all know what we want to see, but frankly, what we will see is Alex Iwobi. That's not necessarily a bad thing, depending on where he plays, obviously, but just yeah, it's difficult to say. I mean, the back line sort of picks itself. If Bassey's fit, if Anderson's fit, if Tete's fit, if Sessegnong's fit, they're all starting. And then it's whether or not Marco continues to try this double pivot bollocks of Lukic and Berge against Sunderland or not.
Well, Lukic can't
Honestly,
play. So.
Oh, right. He's suspended, isn't he? So no double pivot.
Everton.
Yeah, no double pivot this week. Thank fuck for that. So we might actually see Iwobi in the middle with King, hopefully, making a return to the starting 11. I'm suddenly slightly more excited about this fixture. I think Kevin will continue to start, but unfortunately, I think we'll probably see Wilson start. He had a very good international break, but he's probably a bit worn out at this point. But I think we will probably see Wilson start over Chukwueze.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? That Chukwueze Wilson conversation. My personal feeling is I think we might actually see Chuck start this weekend. Mainly because I think if there's one player in the squad that Marco trusts that might be able to play as a striker instead of Raul, it's going to be Wilson. We saw him do an excellent job for that for Wales over this international break. And I wouldn't be too surprised if Marco maybe taps into that. It would be nice if he could learn to take a free kick in a Fulham shirt like he can in a Wales shirt. It would be nice if anyone could learn to take a free kick in a Fulham shirt, frankly. But, you know, it would help. You know, Drew, we know all the stuff that's going on off the field at the moment. We know about Marco's contract situation. We know about all that stuff going in. what are you expecting from him on Saturday? Are we going to see anything? Do you think we'll see anything different from him, knowing the current situation? Do you think we may see a little bit of a hesitant Marco Silva, or do you think he might go into this one actually not overconfident, but overplaying because he's trying to prove a point about what he can actually do as a manager?
Oh, I can't I can't see him taking any sort of risks. There's just it's just not in his makeup. As AJ's already covered, I mean the back four picks itself. The only time I've seen Wilson play as a false nine for us, it was nothing short of a disaster. I like Harry Wilson, but he's just not a striker. I mean, I've been very clear. I mean, I'd play Jonah if we're struggling with Raul, simply because it's just a case of next man up. In terms of the off-field stuff and how it's going to affect Marco or manifest itself in his strategies and team selections, I really can't see it changing at all. I think it's quite telling that Shad Khan himself has come over to deal with it, which really, reading between the lines, tells you all you need to know about Tony Khan's standing when it comes to sorting out things like this. In terms of a PR battle, I mean, if you were to conduct a snap poll of Fulham fans, you're looking at probably high 80s, 90s in terms of who they would back when it became a choice between the Khans and Silva. I don't think Silva feels the need to prove anything because he's the one that the fans want. Are we going to get a better manager? Probably not. To replace him. So I don't think there's going to be any sort of change at all. I don't think there's going to be any change at all. I mean, I'm totally with AJ. I mean, I'm glad that the Lukic Burger access has to have been broken up. I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but I can't see Silva changing anything. I mean, I just simply can't. I think he's conservative, and I think he's incredibly stubborn. So, I mean, if it wasn't Wilson playing as a false nine, it would be Adama. It would be basically anyone but Jonah or ALB from the reserves, who I quite would happily see start, because I am genuinely worried as to how we are going to cope with just Raul until February, because Raul's a fabulous player, but as you pointed out, Ash is 34 years old, and there is no way he can be playing 90 minutes every week.
Yeah, I think the biggest concern with Rail isn't just his age; it's the fact that he's already had 2 injuries this season. We rushed Muniz back to help cover the fact he was injured. That got Muniz injured more, and then we done the same thing last week. Well, 2 weeks ago against Everton, we rushed him back again, and now he's out until February. I think there has to be some lessons learned there from us about having not stretching that department too far. And the only way that's going to happen at the moment is by someone in the squad magically learns how to play as a striker, or Marco starts having a bit of trust in the younger players to have to cover the games, even if that is as finishers or like people that end the game. Raul, because we know he can't do 90 minutes. It's one of those things. Mozza, we know that I don't want to say confidence, the general feel amongst Fulham fans at the moment is quite low. We're going into a game against a Sunderland side who have come up and they've surprised quite a few people. Their fan base is going to be on the complete opposite end of that spectrum to us at the moment. They're playing really well. They're getting some really good results in. In a lost episode that we did pre-season where we were talking about managers and coming up, I quite rated that manager quite highly, and he's proven me right that he's doing a decent job there at Sunderland. We know that we're going to be facing a very confident team. What do you think we're going to need on Saturday to get through it? It's going to be more than just a battling performance by the team. What do you think we're going to need?
Given that I'm someone who has become quite disillusioned, but yet still trying to remain positive. The only sort of advantage I can think that we've got off the pitch is seeing what our support's like, and that it's going to be at the cottage. That still doesn't inspire me with a lot of hope, because I can't speak for every Fulham fan, but I think I'm in the vast majority who feel fairly disillusioned. But as we are quite notorious for being great at taking the piss out of ourselves, self-deprecating first and foremost, that can sometimes work in our favour, and I mean that in all seriousness. So I think what we've got going for us is our home support. I imagine Sunderland will be up for it. It's a long journey away, but given where they are in the league, I mean, it's a great away day out. Given the weather, but I imagine everyone will have shorts and Hawaiian t-shirts on anyway. And it's meant to be a bit warmer after Friday. This is all the material I've got, to be honest. But and it's not original. But yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, sorry if I've missed it already in the conversation. My Wi-Fi is not great, but are we going to know what the Marco situation is before Saturday? I mean, could that change the way we think about things? Drew's shaking his head saying no. So yeah, I have to stick with the only thing I've said. It's like our fans, and God bless. Let's hope Mr. Bishop gets a shout out at some point during the game.
Look, there's one thing I'm 100% sure of that we're not going to find out tomorrow in Marco's press conference is whether or not he signed a new contract. There is a very, very, very clear standoff at the moment between him and the club, I think. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Marco signing the contract until February, if he signs one. And if he does sign one between now and then, I'm in the inkling of feeling that maybe it'd be one of those ones that it's because it's got a load of strings attached, and it'd be pointless bloody signing one anyway. So it's one of those things that it's there's a lot of frustration there. You can understand it. This is the weird thing, one of the things that we've done. I've spoke about it so much over the last couple of weeks. Not just on the shows, but going on other people's and doing like TikTok lives and going on with people talking about Fulham, about this whole situation, is that I've gone 100% 360 on both sides of the count, right? In the sense of, I understand why the Khans would want to get Marco tied down, but I understand why Marco won't want to sign the new contract at the moment. I think it'd be stupid if he did, knowing our track record of actually backing our managers, and it is as simple as that. We have a worrying time ahead coming up, especially considering the fact we're likely to lose 3 players in the next. Well, we will lose 3 players in a couple of weeks as they go off to AFCON, and that'll be interesting to do. Because of that, we probably need to start looking at some of the players in and around the squad anyway, because they're going to be covering, and it'd be nice to start seeing them play. Whether or not we do that against Sunderland, pre-season we probably would have said yes, we'll do that against Sunderland, because they're not likely to be contenders, as it were. But the way the season's rolled out so far, we can't afford to do it against Sunderland. We have to sort of try pick our best 11 every single week. We haven't really got time to blood anybody in or bed anybody in, unless it's sort of makeshift, and that's a real concern for me. That is the problem that we've had over the last couple of months, that we should be looking at games like this to go, we can give some players a go, and we can't, because quite frankly our 2 seasons have been complete polar opposites to how they should be, and it is what it is. Let's go. Before we sort of give our match predictions, there's one thing we always do. We always give players to watch both sets of teams. I think it's going to be difficult, this one. I'm going to start for this one, I think. For me, I actually watch quite a bit of Sunderland. It's no real secret. Anyone who follows the show knows that I have some family members that live in Sunderland and are Sunderland fans. And because of that, I always sort of keep an eye out on them. They have been exceptional this season. Players to watch, it's not even hard. It's Granit Xhaka. He's been superb for them so far this season. He I'm surprised he signed for Sunderland when he did sign for Sunderland. You know, Sunderland are going to have a real issue in a couple of weeks when they lose their 11 players to AFCON. But he's been a signing that's proven that if you can get someone in the middle of your pitch that has some actual command of a football pitch, you'll do well. And they've done that for us. Players to watch. It's probably going to have to be Raul, because I'm really worried about that striking position and what we're going to do when he's not on the pitch. Because I imagine him not being on the pitch and him being on the pitch is going to involve a couple of players rotating, and it could be interesting how they're going to fix that. You know, so I don't know. Scoreline wise, I'm really unconfident going into this game. You know, I don't have much to keep me thinking that we're going to get anything out of the game. I do have a really bad track record, or really good track record of guessing results, and I've been negative so far this season. I'm going to go 2-1 Sunderland, and I reckon they'll take a 2-0 lead really early, and we'll just spend the whole game trying to chase it, and we just won't have enough going forward because that is us. Drew, how about yourself, mate? Players to watch, scoreline prediction?
I was going to pick Xhaka simply because, you know, he's the one that holds it all together for them. I don't know. I mean, it could be Isidore, it could be Traore. For romantic reasons, I'd love to see Patrick. I'd love to have seen Patrick Roberts at the Cottage again. But that's unlikely to happen. I genuinely don't know with Sunderland. The thing about them is that they've got such momentum, and their goals, and they've got people chipping in with goals. I think that there's a great synergy between the team and the fans at the moment. If we get a draw out of this, I'll be very happy. Such is the morale and how predictable we've become. In terms of players to watch for us, Raul's a good shout, simply because the rumor at the moment is that he's not even training. He's just going from game to game. I hope King gets back into the starting lineup because he is the one player. That's not fair. He's not the one player. I mean, because Kevin's great, and I wish we saw more of Chuck. But for us, I think King's going to have a good game if he plays. And I'm very much with AJ. I'd like to see Iwobi in the 8, because we saw him playing the 10. He didn't have enough space. So yeah, I mean, King and Iwobi in the centre for us, I think is going to be crucial. Iwobi needs to have a good game. He just needs to have a good game because when he plays well, we tend to play well. But score prediction, I don't know. I think I could see Sunderland scoring twice. I've got a nasty feeling it might be a 2-1 away win.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. To be honest with you, AJ, how about yourself, mate? Players to watch and a scoreline prediction.
Player to watch for Sunderland, I think it'd be Bertrand Traore, simply because he's never really had a very good game against us while he was at Villa, which means that he's probably going to light house on fire against us while playing for Sunderland in very typical fashion. As for us, I'd like to say Josh King, but I don't know whether or not he will be or won't be playing. So just on that argument alone, I'm going to say Harry Wilson, because I have a feeling that based on his international performance, he's likely to play, and he very well could end up playing at striker if Raul isn't available, because I know he's still recovering from a knock that he didn't even want to carry into the international games that he played anyway. So, yeah, score prediction. 2-2, I think. I don't know where we're getting 2 goals from, to be honest, but we seem to find them somewhere, normally from own goals, so maybe we get lucky again.
Yeah, we'll see. Mozza, how about yourself, mate? Players to watch and a scoreline prediction, please.
Yeah, I'm going to try my best to keep it short and sweet. Let me start with the scoreline prediction. I don't see us scoring. I see us getting punished. I've got 3-0 in my head to Sunderland, unfortunately. yeah, I ain't got high hopes if you couldn't gauge from what I said earlier. Yeah, obvious choice would be Xhaka, but Isidore, I think, is going to be depending what our defensive lineup is going to be giving us problems down the central play. And I was thinking to say for us, our player to watch, Jimenez too, but I'm interested to see if Kevin starts as well, or if he comes on at any point, how they can bounce back off each other, because they're both kind of, like we always say, like playmakers. But it is quite alarming that Rail himself is less of a goal scorer, more of a goal maker, in my humble opinion. Um, I don't think Kevin has seemed himself in the last couple of appearances. He seemed to have lost that flair, and I think we might have had conversations or heard of conversations that Marco had told him to tone it down, the old showboating and that, which is a shame if that's true. But yeah, maybe he's just got maybe he's got wind of how it's all going to shit for us at the moment, so he's just given up as well. But that's probably a bit extreme of me to say. But yeah, let me say Kevin for us to watch if he starts, if he plays. So we might get to see all of about 20 minutes of him, if the latter.
Yeah, it's a weird one at the moment. I think this whole show sort of really shows us the confidence is really gone out of most people, right? The fan base seems like it's really losing it in the minute, and it's all because of "I told you so" moments. All of us were bemoaning our transfer windows over the last couple of years. They've come into light. This non-rotational squad is coming to bite us in the bum again. This whole thing at the moment is just playing into one of those seasons where it feels like every single week something goes against us that is completely self-inflicted. And it's not of us giving away a goal that we're caused that. It's because there's something wrong with the squad that the club as a whole has caused. So there's a lot of frustration lying around at the moment. Doesn't help playing a club like Sunderland, who had to start the season like they are at the moment right now. But let's be honest, unless we were playing Wolves again this Saturday, I don't think any of us would be going into this game confident. And it is as simple as that. We got to hope that we can turns around at some point and somewhere. Where exactly, I don't know. We just got to hope it comes soon, right? Haven't we? Even if it is just a case of putting in a performance that maybe a result is not quite there, or we get a draw and then go from there. It's going to be a tough one. We still don't really know what the squad's looking like. We'll find out when Marco does his press conference today. As I say, hopefully, though, when we come to review this game next week, there is at least some positives to talk about, because I've had enough of sounding grumpy and moany about the whole situation going on. I would love something positive to cling on that isn't just Josh King, because there's only so much you can praise an 18-year-old and hope that he's going to hold up your whole football season. It is a real concern at the moment. Lads, thanks very much for joining me on this preview. I don't know 100% when we're going to get our review of this one done, so keep an eye on our socials. We will post out as soon as we're managing to sort out when we're going to record. For those of you who don't know, I've been out of my house for the last 5.5 months because of a flood, and I'm finally moving home over the weekend and on Monday. So it's going to put a bit of pressure on the recording schedule, but we'll be back with better quality picture and better quality audio, which would be great because I can actually deal with it with my internet at home. So we also we did say that we were going to give away a T-shirt when we reach 200 subscribers on YouTube. We are exceptionally close. Before recording tonight, I think we were 9 subscribers away from giving away that T-shirt. So if you haven't done so already, come and subscribe. We'll then give a T-shirt away to a random subscriber who's already in that first 200 who subscribed. If you know somebody who doesn't subscribe, come and recommend the channel to us. I promise you, we're not usually this negative all of the time. We do try to be positive. Lads, enjoy your weekend. If you're coming to the game on Saturday, obviously enjoy the game. Wrap up warm. because it's going to be cold down at the cottage. Unless you're a Mackham, then you'll probably be topless. But other than that, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you next week. Come on, you whites.